Hello, Scrappy family. Amanda here with my favorite scrapper. We are going to continue with our Christmas 2020 layout series. I'm going to pull a sketch from Make It From Your Heart, Volume 5 from Close to My Heart. The sketch calls for 6 photos. In the sketchbook, you have a page with all of the measurements as well as some colored examples. I am going to put this to the side. I won't be able to show it since it is a paid product, even though Close to My Heart is no longer in business. So the sketch calls for 6 photos. So I have 6 photos here. The sketch calls for 3x4 photos, but I'm going to keep mine at 4x6. I'll be utilizing this 6x6 paper pad from PhotoPlay, and it's called Christmas Memories. Our clothes in these photos are more autumn colored than the holiday Christmas green. And the paper pack works perfect with that, with more darker colors. I'm going to start with 2 American cardstock white background pages. I almost always utilize this cardstock for my backgrounds. On the sketch, there's a large piece on the left-hand side that goes down. And since I'm using a 6x6 paper pad, I'm just going to double that up. And you see Hannah. Hannah said hello. She came in for a visit. And next to that large strip of pattern paper, there is another strip to break the distance between the pattern paper and the photos. There are also several striped pieces that the sketch calls for on the top and the bottom of the layout. And so again, because this is a 6x6 paper pack, I have to cut it several times, twice for the top of each page and twice for the bottom of each page. So there's lots of cutting going on here. And as you guys know, I like to cut up all of my pieces and then and now I have to trim down my photos. I know I want to keep them at 6 inches tall because most of them are portrait style photos that I don't have too much extra space to cut down, but I will try to trim some a little bit. Specifically on the left hand page, I'm going to cut those down a bit because we have this 3-inch pattern paper. Sizing up my pictures here to see where the excess is so that I can trim these down a bit. I am going to try to cut them down to 3x6. Like I said, keeping the same height. And we have some, empty space next to my mom and I and myself in the pictures with the tree. In this photo with my husband, it's such a close-up that I really can't cut it down. So I'm going to look at other pictures that I have printed from the same day to see how I can get that to fit. And so this picture was landscape, so I'm going to cut it to 3x4 and then just utilize some pattern paper at the top and the bottom of the picture so that it matches the length, or the height rather, of the other 2 photos. So that's me and my daughter, and then we have my sister and my brother-in-law. So we're just trimming down some pictures for the right hand page as well. Actually, I think we're going to keep those the same size. Since there's no pattern paper on that side, I don't have to cut them down. So I'm going to just work here on arranging what I want the style to look like, varying away from the sketch just a little bit. I always like to make my own decisions with the sketch. I use it as a jumping off point, not necessarily as a requirement. And so here I am putting the strips at the top and the bottom, as I said that the sketch called for. And I'm not liking the initial pattern paper that I picked here. I'm feeling like it conflicts with the stripe. So I'm going to go with a solid instead, as I feel like it transitions better. I've got all my papers cut. I'm going to adhere everything and come back. So here I am, a slight variation from where we were before. I decided to add a journaling block to the left-hand side instead of a third photo, just because it wasn't working with the 3x4 photo. So now I'm auditioning at some strips of pattern paper that the layout calls that will go above each photo on each page. And so it's about a 1/2-inch strip of paper that just goes over the length of each photo. And I'm just auditioning some pages to see, some of these pages from the 6x6, to see which ones I like to match the layout. So I go back and forth here quite a bit with how long I want the strips to be, with which colors I like. I feel like some of the patterns are a little too busy, some of them are a little too plain. So you'll see me playing around here, but I do want the strips to be consistent on both the left-hand page and the right-hand page. So you'll see me cut to play around with that. And I'm looking here at the pattern papers and I'm not really liking that first one and I want to change it out. So I'm just auditioning another sheet of paper. That paper there with the gifts on it was actually a banner piece in the 6x6. It wasn't a full sheet. So again, you can utilize so many aspects and portions of the paper that's included in your 6x6 and your 12x12 collections. It doesn't have to be used in the format in which it came. You can cut up a 3x4 card and use the sentiment only or what have you. It is your layout. You can do what you like. So here I am. I'm going to ink up the edges. I'm using toffee ink from Close to My Heart for my edges here. I typically ink up the edges on most of my papers. And this is like a light brown and it goes perfect with the gold in this paper collection. I'm going to start adhering down these strips and on the left hand page and the right hand page and just lining them up and making sure that the patterns repeat from the left hand side to the right hand side with that holly paper, then the green, and then the gift banner piece that was from the 6x6 paper pack. After I cut the strips, the next step on the layout on the sketch are circle elements that go under each photo. And I have a circle punch that I'm going to use. I got it from like a treasure to trash table at a crop. It's a 1.5 inch circle. So I'm going to cut those out in coordinating patterns to the strips above the photos and put those under each. Again, repeating the pattern on the left-hand page versus the right-hand page. Now that we have all of the papers down, it's time to embellish. I had this PhotoPlay sticker sheet. It's not the same collection, but PhotoPlay colors carry over, so that was good. I wanted to have a circular element on the left-hand side to hide the transition of the cut in the paper. So I picked out this full moon with Santa and his reindeer, and I covered it up with the Merry Christmas, and that's going to be the title of our layout. Then I pulled out some sticker holly leaves and holly berries and put that next to the circle element. Now I'm going to just pull off some of these phrases from the sticker sheet and alternate them every other circle between the left-hand page and the right-hand page. I love dimension on my layouts, so I'm putting some foam tape behind these, just looking at some other phrases on the sticker sheet and pulling those off and popping them up as well, alternating the colors so that it doesn't get lost with the circle that is on top of. So I love the way that that came out. And now I'm adding a embellishment cluster to the top of the layout on the right hand page. I just took a scrap of pattern paper that we had that matched the 3-inch block on the right hand side, added a circle, chopped off the top of it just to give it some character. And now I'm looking at an ephemera packet, going back through the paper pad to see if there's any type of embellishment that I can add to that cluster at the top that would make sense. I pulled out an additional sticker sheet. This is from Cartabella, but I don't end up using anything from that sheet just because the colors are a little off and it doesn't work. So I go back to the original PhotoPlay sheet and pull down these bells that I'm going to pop up and add to that top cluster. I'm going to be much better at utilizing elements on my sticker sheet that I wouldn't normally use just so that I can get the full use of my sticker sheets. So after I put that up, I'm going to call this layout pretty much done. I'm going to do my journaling off camera and embellish that journaling space a little bit with some additional stickers. Thank you again so much for watching this layout. I am so proud of myself for working through my stash. I hope you do something creative today to make yourself proud as well. Please like, comment, and subscribe.